I mean, this is a bit of a different space to where I'm usually meeting people. You know, we're not out in the open surrounded by flowers as such, but we literally are surrounded by flowers. So for people who don't know you, introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, who's going to do that?
You go first.
Okay, so I'm Caroline, this is Davinder, and we have a small business, creative business called Madaher, and we do all sorts of floral inspired stuff, paintings, embroidery kits, and we run workshops, and we've just moved into this wonderful new space. So have I said it right? Do you think I've got everything?
and then we also do, like myself, do lecturing, freelance work for customers, because we both have worked in fashion and homeware as well. So, but you know, we met in New York. That's how we met. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, in our jobs.
So
that's quite a story.
Yeah, and so what were you both doing in New York?
Partying. No, I mean.
Yeah,
we were out every night. No, we were working for what they call a print studio. So a print studio is where whenever you see someone wearing a printed top, whether it be dresses or fashion or homeware, those original designs are what customers would buy, then put them into their collection. So we would do print and embroidery.
For textiles, and embroidery design. So we both have a textile background, so we both did textile design as our degree. You went to Brighton, I was up in Scotland in Galashiels. Don't know if you know Galashiels. Tom, I know you were in Scotland the other week, up in Glasgow.
That far, I don't think.
No, well, Galashiels is on the borders, the Scottish borders. It's quite close to Edinburgh.
Oh, okay.
They do have a train line there now, but when I went to uni, they didn't have a train. I wish they had that when I was there. But yeah, so when I graduated, I went out to New York with this job offer and met Davinder there.
But I'd been there previous for about 4 years.
Yeah. Oh, had you?
So I've lived there for 7 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went out really for 6 months and ended up being there for about 4.5 years, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely, I'm from quite a small town in Cumbria, went to a university in a small town in Scotland and had never really lived in a city. So going from a small town type of place to New York was quite a big jump for me, but it was just did me the world of good. I wouldn't say that I'd want to live there forever, but it's an experience that I would say if you ever had the opportunity, grab it, because it was incredible. And I got to meet you. So
absolutely.
that's the best bit.
Bonus.
Yes.
Yeah, you are a bonus.
Oh, thanks, sweetheart. Yeah. No, it was great. It was really good. So, you know, we lived there for a few. Well, I was there for 7. You were there for about 4 and a bit, and then we moved back to the UK because I got a job for. Can I say brands names?
Yeah,
here?
so you can say brand names here.
Okay, so I went from working with friends of ours because they had their own studio, and then in Chinatown, and then we moved back here and ended up. I was I guess a senior print designer for George Asda. So you got to think this was nearly 20 years ago when supermarkets were looking into like clothing brands, and George at the time, and I think they still do.
Because that was all quite new, wasn't it? Really, that sort of time.
It was all new, and they had like a global market. So I went in to this corporate environment with a team of like 15. I had to supervise 2 assistants, and it was a completely shell shock.
I bet.
If I'm really honest, it was a bit of a shell shock. We didn't find it easy to be back in the UK.
No.
And I think the job that we'd had prior to that was just every day was different. So it was all sorts of different creative projects and just very get your hands messy. And so we really did miss that when we both of us, I for a shorter time stepped into corporate as well and had a very short spell at Next in kids wear design. But then we started a family, and that was the goal, was to always just be mum for a little while. And I shouldn't say just be mum.
It's quite a big role.
That's quite a massive role, actually.
Yeah. I used to get told off saying, I'm just a mum.
You're not just a mum.
No, you're not. But I loved being mum, and that we've got 3 children now. So that was a big chunk of time out for me. But you've sort of dipped
Did you
into
find
corporate.
that being in the corporate then was challenging because of all the stuff that comes with corporate, I guess, in terms of it's not just being creative, is it? You don't just get to sit down and design and you
there's
get
meetings about meetings. So I did it for probably about a year and a half, and then I call it my season 1 of freelance, and that lasted 6-7 years. And then I worked for Sainsbury's for about 6 years. They offered me a job, so I took it. And now I'm on season 2 of freelance, and I've been doing that for about 5 years since we've been up here.
Yeah.
And there is so much. When I talk about like education, so I was at Bolton University yesterday. I work with a lot of universities. I've been a judge at Graduate Fashion Week, a speaker at New Designers. So education is really important with part of what I do, and Caroline as well, isn't it? But I always say just try everything. Try corporate, try working for a supplier, do lecturing. Do you want to be a maker? So it's for me. I think it's good to have an all-round experience in the industry.
Yeah, I agree, actually. But I think now that we're here, I don't even know if we said that we're in Yorkshire. We're in a small town, and I think now that we're here and we've got this space, it's more about connecting with what we love and putting content out on our Instagram that reflects that. And it's really nice to be disconnected from that corporate sort of life and just being in control of
it's back on your terms now.
Yeah, and up here there's just so much inspiration. Like, obviously we're surrounded by flowers. We love flowers. Absolutely, I've got about 1 million photographs on my phone of pictures, which I'm sure we all have. But I just think, nature just connects people, and art connects people. And I think just being here, we're just literally on the doorsteps of the Dales. We've got a place here called the Chevin, which is just sort of like it's quite hilly, and you can see loads woodlands. I love the woodlands. Love walking.
What is it about nature that you've kind of picked as your kind of muse for your creativity and stuff? Because most of the stuff that you do is plants and flowers, isn't it? And that kind of stuff in your design. So why is that? Why do you lean more towards that?
I think we're just drawn to it. It's you go.
Well, I just think you connect with nature. We're meant to be connected with nature. That's what I believe. Like, when you get out of the city and you just go for country walks, there is just something about being in nature that's just really inspiring. It's obviously good for your well-being. We want our creative gifts to be good for the well-being as well. So when we do workshops, it's not just come to a workshop and do a flower. It's like there's something about looking at a flower, there's something about drawing plants and what have you that is really important, and that just connects you with nature. So nature will always be an inspiration. I just think I think we are quite funny sometimes, because we'll be out and about, and anyone that's with us that's not interested in those things, they're like, oh, for goodness sake. So we're like, oh, look at that picture. And we're like, that flower, we're like getting our phone out, taking pictures, because we're just so... I guess we're just really captivated by flowers. You'd laugh, because like, even though I went running, I'm not the best runner, but I'm starting to look at all the autumn leaves that are on in the park, and the ones that have got like multiple colours, from like yellows and reds, and I'm like snapping the photographs because I just find them inspiring. So
we do wonder how much running you actually do.
Not a lot.
My daughter and myself were always like, Dad's gone for a run.
I stop all the time. I don't really run that much.
I went with you on Monday morning, and I was like, come on, stop taking pictures. But
so when you've got all this inspiration then from nature and all these, all these ideas and stuff, what do you then do with that? How do you then turn that from something you've been inspired to, how does that end up on a product or something like that?
Well, I suppose for us, I would say that we've always got a story behind whatever it is we've done, and we always we put out quite a lot of content of embroidery kits, and we do try to keep them really seasonal, so that we're really tapping into what's going on now. So we've got a really exciting embroidery kit. We've already given a sneak peek, so I can say it's called Autumn Glory, and it just captures everything that we just love about the dahlias and finding acorns and just those rich colours. And we just want it to be really considered, and that the choice of colours are considered. So we spend ages, don't we, like picking through colours and trying to decide how that comes together. We have another beautiful kit called Woodland Treasures, and that was inspired by COVID autumn walks when we were in our local woods and finding those amazing toadstools and that kind of thing. And we just wanted it to capture, you know, what I think all of us were experiencing was reconnecting with nature again. I think that was just such a time for people that maybe hadn't actually gone out walking very much, you know, there was lots of people gardening and just spending time in their gardens or getting out and having their bit of exercise that we were allowed to have.
Yeah.
So, you know, each kit that we've put out or each painting,
it's really considered. And I think that's from my design background, because when you start a story or when you start a collection, and this is what I tell students, it's got to have an anchor. It's not, well, sometimes you can find something and it's an inspiration for a collection, but for us, I think we try and, you know, we collect loads of magazines. I've got loads of books. It could be something like we've got one collection called Chintz, and that was based on an exhibition at the Textile Museum in London, and that's got but we wanted to put a bird in it, so we've got the pheasant in it, so that's our Chintz collection, because Chintz is very British. You know, it's countryside, it's nature, it's, you know, so animal, and so everything's has to have an anchor to it. It's got to have something, and then from then it just moves on, you know, to an embroidery kit. But it evolves to, like, you know, we're trying to develop fabrics at the moment as well. So we've done cushion panels, and so there's just
so what does the full kind of output of Madaher look like across both of you? That what sort of things are you both doing? You've talked about the embroidery kits. What other sort of stuff are you doing then?
Well, I think for me, I would love to do more fabric. That's the sort of goal. But I think so our motto is finding inspiration in the everyday, isn't it,
Nice.
sweetheart? I'm just double checking with the boss.
No, that's right. That is our motto.
It is, because I always get it wrong.
You really know your business.
Yeah, I know my business and know the motto of people. But the thing is finding inspiration in every day. So for us, it's really about using our creativity to inspire not just ourselves, but to inspire other people. And I think, I mean, I've been in this business a long time, about 30 years, designing for various companies, you know, and from corporate to suppliers. And I think you get to a stage like we are now where there's just more to life than just, designer, a pretty pattern, so it goes into a collection. You know, I was just reading, you know, how much wastage there is, you know, that's a whole nother topic, but, you know, with sustainability and stuff like that. So for us, it's just designing products and fabric that just bring joy to people, that inspire people. It's a bigger picture. It's it's more depth. It's not just, and I think that's what keeps
I think
us
it's definitely
inspired.
Connecting to people. That's been something that Davinder and I have found all along our journey so far, particularly with the business as Madaher, is just we get messages from people about how it's connected with them, or just something's just inspired them. Like Davinder did this beautiful painting, like an art print, and it said "Take courage" on it, and so many people bought it because they needed that. Or during COVID times, we did these little Rainbow of Hope embroidery kits, and that people connected to that. You know, it is more about the connection with people and nature,
definitely.
and
I just think what we do is about people. You know, when you think about, like, you know, going to these sort of like flower shows, or, you know, we've got, you know, Hollow Car up the road in Harrogate, which we love. I love it there. Like, it's a place to go to. It's a place where I find for myself just peace and just the flowers and just connecting. And also it brings people together. You know, you can either go on your own and just, you know, renew your soul, renew who you are, and just get away from all the social media stuff that, you know, the busyness of life that we live in, or we go together and just, you know, talk. And the flowers in the gardens and flowers and plants is what connects people.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, exactly.
You're probably a bit similar, Tom, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And probably most of the people listening will definitely, you know, resonate with that. That's what we all love to do. That's why we're all gardeners, or, you know, we love visiting gardens and the shows and stuff like that. It's all inspiration and just time and creativity, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting, we were talking about New York, but we had some friends visit during the summer from New York, and we were trying to think what to do, and we were like, well, let's take them to Harlow Car, we'll go take them to the garden, and thinking that they would love that. And actually, I think it turned out to be one of the best days of their trip, because they live in the city, they live in Brooklyn, and their life is just busy. And it was just so good. These are friends we hadn't seen for 20 odd years that we never thought we'd spend time with again. You know, maybe if we visited, but we just sat in the garden on the deck chairs, and honestly, we just whiled away about 2 whole hours of conversation, relaxing, shutting our eyes, and just taking in that space was just so good.
Yeah, and I think that's what, you know, I mean, obviously we're members of the RHS, so it's just what they do. It's just a place that just every season, like, you'll always find something. You always find something new. The gardens are changing. You know, when you walk, you know, I'm a member of their library, which I love.
And you've got overdue books.
I'm obsessed with their library. To me, it's heaven. But when we go to Holocaust, it just changes all the time, and you always find something new. And then, and of course, you know, you can just walk around and chat, and it's just, you just switch off. So, yeah, I kind of feel like we want that to be part of our work. You know, when someone buys an embroidery kit, it connects people. It's time out. It's slow pace, hopefully. You know, that your sort of mindfulness. So I think that's really important.
Or even when they come and paint at one of your workshops, that again, it's a really mindful.
Oh yeah, so I had my first workshop here, and we did it on sunflowers because they had the Van Gogh documentary here, and so I wanted to do a sunflower, and it seems obviously seasonal, and so I had just about three ladies here, and literally they just switched off. I mean, the workshop went over an hour and a half, and it was fine. I wasn't in a rush, but I think they just wanted that slow pace and understanding the technique of using watercolor and mixing color, and the subject was right here. You know, you can see a bit of it on our Instagram, but I had a vase here with sunflowers, and they just completely switched off. I mean, what's better, painting flowers and cups of tea and biscuit? It's brilliant.
Exactly. It's what we need.
It's exactly. I love it.
That's hilarious. And then, so your kind of then worlds collided with Andy at Dahlia Beach, and you started doing all of your stuff there, and that kind of took it to another level, I guess, for you, didn't it?
It did. I mean, that was just, she put something out there on Instagram, and
I think she was looking for someone to redo her packaging.
That was it.
That's how it started.
That's how it started. Then,
so we reached out to her along with many other artists, but I suppose the difference with you was that you could paint the flowers, but you could also put that into the packaging. So she had lots of lovely talented artists.
She can do it digitally.
And,
well, I think what was interesting was, I mean, I'm sure there were other probably textile designers. I mean, I don't know, Andy would know, but we worked very closely together, you know, like, especially on the box. That's how it initially started. And then the way it folded and the way the flowers met, and then it just evolved. I mean, I'm very used to, like, you know, we've got our lovely Andy.
You've got your
I've got a Dahlia Beach.
You got the
modern.
I'm sorry, I've got the.
But I mean, I'm very used to working on products and ranges, so, you know, I'm very used to I mean, so was Annie. I mean, she's got her own vision of what she wants the flowers to be on. So as you can see, it just blew up in, when you went to Chelsea Flower Show, and now she's got a whole merch with like indoor cushions, outdoor cushions. There's notebooks,
Aprons.
the aprons, and it was quite a ride.
Yeah, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it was.
You didn't know what you were applying
No.
for.
No, we didn't. And I worked very closely with the manufacturers, and then we worked very closely with getting the right. Because even with the mug, I mean, it's working with good manufacturers so that the product
It's nice.
is nice.
Yeah.
This is bone china. It's not like plastic or something.
Well, it's not like a cheap ceramic builder's mug.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
nice,
so if you're going to buy this
it's
mug,
a
you're
nice mug.
we all like to invest in a mug. I think a mug is, it's where
I love a good mug.
I love a good mug. I like my Yorkshire
I love
tea.
a good mug.
Cheers, sweetheart. and so it went on. It just went.
Went on
Yeah.
a whole journey.
It did, and I
certainly
suppose
did.
the funny thing about working with Andy, like our first interaction with her, I chatted to her and I was like, well, Davinder's not here today, but he's the one that would paint the flowers. He's the one we need to chat with. Let's have another conversation tonight. And I think we'd been on the phone for not even 5 minutes, and then she just went, I tell you what, guys, let's just go live. Let's just go live. Well, we were like, she went off the phone. I'm like, what does she mean? Does she actually want to go
She was
live?
live, yeah.
We've done this before, but not this spontaneously.
No.
It's usually a plan.
She's very spontaneous,
and
Andy.
we did it, and it was quite funny. We were
Once
like,
you've done it,
it's out
fine,
there,
isn't it?
like-
Yeah, whenever you speak to her on the phone, you're like, I wonder if we're going to go live.
Yeah, exactly. Are we about to
Go live, Andy.
are we about to go
Go
live?
live.
Yeah.
She's
Or are we
lovely.
safe?
She's lovely. And then even to the point where we even designed a skirt for her for the first
yeah.
day.
Yeah, and then I made
Yeah.
the skirt, and I just didn't realise the press day was quite where it was on the schedule, and we were like, it's too risky to send this skirt,
So-
even with a courier.
So Davinder here drove 3 hours and back
We went and
in a
delivered
day
it
to
her.
drop off the
Wow.
skirt.
That is dedication.
That's called customer service. That is called customer service.
So what's
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. What's the process from designing something? So you've got all of the paints and stuff here, and you obviously paint the flowers and stuff. But then how do you get that into a digital?
So, for
version?
example, can I just lean
Yeah.
over? Like, so for example, I'm painting these at the moment. But these are just, I'll probably sell these on our website, but I would scan them in and then on Photoshop, and then I will,
You can amend.
and then you can amend the colours, adjust it, add bits, take things out, and then change the scale. So, on our website, we've got a painting that I've done, and you can order it A3 to A2. I've even done wallpaper, but it's not out yet.
Oh,
No.
that's exciting.
But to be honest, we did it like a year ago.
Yeah, I don't know why I was sitting on it.
I've just got to get it out there.
Yeah, we
I
do.
just have, and I've got other ideas as well. So, but once it's digitized, then you're off.
Yeah, you can do
You
whatever
can
with
put it on a cushion. You
Yeah.
can put it on a mug. You can put it on anything.
Yeah,
So
and I think that was the exciting thing with Andy's, like, even she perhaps didn't know what the potential was once
Yeah.
she had this box design. It just rolled into so many other things.
So once you've got some digital artwork, like you say, then you can be
Yeah.
putting that on anything,
Yeah.
anything you can think of.
Any,
And then that's what basically happened afterwards. Isn't it?
it just went off.
Yeah.
Tea towels, and then.
And
But I
even
do like
the-
the coasters.
But even the embroidery kits, because we did that little embroidery kit, and I never in a million years expected that would sell. I said, Andy, let's just do 100 to begin with, and they just
They were
sold
selling
out
out.
within probably 48 hours, maybe less. I'm not sure. And obviously, her following are all mostly gardeners or
Yeah.
want to be a gardener or having a bit of a go. And I just thought, are they really going to be interested in the embroidery kit? And they were, and so we obviously did more. But I think that's an interesting connection, is that a lot of our followers actually are gardeners as well, or they enjoy baking, or they enjoy just making their homes nice, but a lot of people in the winter they haven't got as many gardening jobs, and we do find that people.
Well, that's it, and like that whole kind of thing about connecting with nature, like in the winter especially. You haven't got that if you can't be getting outside and doing stuff and it's cold and wet. So actually, this is another way to connect with nature.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So garden in the summer, stitch in the winter.
That's another motto.
That could be a motto.
There you go, sweet. I'll write that one down.
No, but we still want them to stitch in the summer too, don't we? Well, they could have stitched this summer because this summer has been a bit of a washout. So
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, no, it was fun. It was a fun project. Yeah.
And do you find that when you're doing all this stuff, do you have to get into like a creative, I mean, you're in a creative space, literally, but do you have to get into a bit of a, like, do you ever just go, no, I really cannot do this today, no inspiration, do not want to paint a single thing, like, how do you have to get in the zone, or does it come quite naturally?
I think you have to get in the zone. I mean, when you work in a corporate environment, there's no option. You've got to be in that zone straight away. Yeah. Whereas I think we've got the flexibility of like, I think it's almost like warming up. I love sketching. I love sketching. I think I put on my Instagram me sketching a flower, and that process in itself for me is just I love it. I will watch TV and I just want to get my sketchbook out and sketch. It's not that I don't want to watch the program. It's just I just like the process and And what about you, sweetie?
I don't know. Like, I think it's quite hard when you're busy with children and you've got other work that you have to get done, and then for us at the moment, we still have to steal snippets of time on this business. So sometimes I do just have to get to it. Yeah. And once my design is formed, for example, the embroidery kit that we're working on right now, which I'm now currently stitching, I can pick that up at any point. I could pick it up and I could stitch it on a bus, I could be on a train, I could stitch wherever. And that's the good thing about it, so you can take it away with you, and I can pick up something anytime. But I think the process of actually coming up with the idea, sometimes my brain is just like a bit frazzled because we both have so many ideas, too many ideas. And so sometimes we'll just say, do you know what, should we go for a drive or go somewhere, it might be like a National Trust store, or go somewhere just to have some headspace, or even just go for a coffee and go for a walk outdoors and take our notebook or take our diaries and just regroup and then go right back to it. But I think sometimes, as a creative, sometimes you do sort of almost waste some time sometimes because you just procrastinate. And
I'm glad that you say that, because that makes me feel so much better. Because you're exactly right. You say it does feel like you're wasting time sometimes, but it's part of the process, isn't it? And you almost have to. You just have so many ideas and things going around in your mind that you basically end up doing none of them. Yeah. But you're just trying to kind of flesh out what is worth it, what is not, and
that's so true, because actually I think procrastination can be quite paralyzing as a creative when you hit that wall where you've got all these hundreds of ideas and you want to do A, B and C, but what's the priority? Where should I begin?
Where do you start?
So sometimes you do have that, and even after all these years I still sometimes hit that wall of like, actually all you really needed to do today was just think of all of those things and make yourself a cup of tea and sit for a while with it and let it sink, instead of going, I've got to react straight away and get it down on paper. Sometimes you have to let it what's the word, like brew like a cup of tea.
But we do have sketchbooks of ideas, like we'll just jot down ideas. So I have got sketchbooks where like, we could do this, but we'll just park it for now. But my problem in the studio is like, you can see we've got green plants. I just love coming in and feeding my plant. That's for me, it's just like getting into the zone. For me, it's like, I want to come in and water the plants, and then it's kind of my little habit now, and I enjoy it. Like I enjoy it before I sit down and then actually paint. And in fact, I've got to paint these plants for a project for next week. So so I'm doing a project with a university next week, and it's going to be botanical. So I'm actually going to be painting these bad boys later on this week for a project for next week, just in one colour.
Yeah. Oh, okay. One colour.
Just one colour, and then they're going to take those and then they're going to put them onto silk screen. And in fact, where they are at the university, they've got a garden with massive plants, and it's great. So I was like, great, if it's not raining, we're going to go outside. I'm going to get them to do some sketching. I'm going to get them to get some blacking, Indian ink, and we're going to do some drawing. Using the brushes, using the back of the brushes, and then I'm going to get them drawing, and then they're going to translate those onto silk screen.
Wow.
So someone else would take that.
That sounds really
the technician
cool.
would take over that.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of nature,
Yeah, well, that would be just one simple starting point. You could just take one amazing leaf shape and
exactly.
then create something completely
different. You
different.
could literally take one piece, for example, and then I was like, oh, well, we can collage it, we'll paint it, we can rip shapes up paper and we can stick them down. So they got a body of work where they've taken one inspiration, one motif, and then they'll just play around with it. And I think that's what we have to do as creatives, is almost that time out is actually really important. I know we procrastinate, but you almost need to let it, and I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I didn't realise kind of going into doing what I'm doing with the freelance and the social media stuff, even different type of creative, but exactly the same. I didn't really realise how much time I needed to do that. And like you say, it is procrastination time almost, but thinking of the ideas and thinking, if I'm just like bashing it out, I'm ticking a box, I'm doing a job, but I'm not, putting my all into, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not, coming up with the ideas that I want to come up with. And some days, you'll have a flush and you just bang, bang, bang. I've had 100 ideas, write them down quick before you lose them out of your head. And then other days you're like, no idea. I really have no motivation to think about that today. So it is, and I think it's allowing myself to move with that and flow with that, and
giving yourself permission is really important. Give yourself permission to be like, you know what, today wasn't a good day. Today, it sucked. It just didn't work. I just, I got distracted, or I don't know. I feel like sometimes you just need to give yourself permission to be and to be okay with it.
Yeah.
But tomorrow's a new day, and you're talking to someone that gets really frustrated if I've not achieved something.
Yeah.
Aren't I? Like, I'm the worst. I'm probably the worst person. I probably beat myself up quite a lot because I'm like, darn, I didn't. I should have done that by now. I should have completed this, or
I think you might be slightly more towards glass half empty, and I'm more towards glass half full. In that, if my day hasn't gone 100% to where I wanted to what I want to achieve, I'll just be like, no, it's okay. Like, maybe you just needed that day to be, not quite getting it all done. My biggest distraction is particularly when we worked at home, was just doing the laundry or doing other jobs. And even actually after the run, I got completely distracted with taking out all the weeds out the path towards that back garden.
Yeah, looks great now. But we've
I
left.
haven't got it all out, but
we couldn't. You left
and
it. Didn't
I
we?
was supposed to come straight here, but instead, I just started weeding. But sometimes you just need that, Sometimes you just need to stop and just do something and have thinking time.
Yeah. Does it feel quite rewarding though then when you see people obviously buying the stuff, but then also making it and sharing it back with you, or wearing a dress with your print on it, or whatever it might be? That must be pretty rewarding, right?
It is.
It is, because I feel like, well, I suppose.
No, you go.
Absolutely. I think it's really important to acknowledge that someone has invested and spent money and time in your product. It's not what we sell. It's not fast fashion.
Yeah.
Buying an embroidery kit and doing an embroidery kit and making it's not fast. It's something that someone's taken time to buy your stuff, and we've put our heart and soul into them, and then they've gone and made it, and it's brought them joy. So that's what I mean. What we do brings happiness to people, because they'll go, look, I've done it, or it's a gift for a friend, and they're really happy, right?
Yeah.
Fashion is slightly different when I work for my clients. That's a slightly, but I'm still happy when I see stuff.
Yeah.
Someone asked me what makes me happy, and I'm like, I'm happy my design being on a mug as much as it is on a dress or a skirt or a cushion or a notebook. For me, it's like they've invested in my design. And it's brought them joy for however long. So
yeah, whatever it's on, they've picked it because they loved it.
Yeah, and
it means
often
something to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think like with Madaher, I don't even know if we mentioned this, but we both had a little bit of a following on Instagram on our personal accounts before COVID, and I had decided to put out this one embroidery kit, which is not on our site anymore. We retired it, didn't we? But it was called Dahlia Bloom, funnily enough, and it was just a bold dahlia. It was Davinder's painting combined with my stitching, and we sold that the year before COVID sort of really kicked off. And then March 2020 was when we were about to launch this new kit called Hidden Garden, and it was quite a simple but really beautiful kit, and it has been our bestseller.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like we've had people from the very beginning just follow our journey, and at that point when we were all ready to launch, and then we go into this lockdown, and I was like, oh my goodness, like it seems so insensitive to start launching something like this. Everyone's stressed and worried, like, so I just put it out there. Should we launch it? Are we being insensitive to the the circumstances? And everyone's like, no, get it out there.
It's exactly
sell
what
it.
they need.
And that's what they needed.
We'd sold out of our very small first batch overnight, really, hadn't we? And actually it's what everybody was doing. They were either gardening, or they were doing something crafting, or they were making sourdough bread or banana loaves or whatever, baking. And it's just what people needed, and so we had no idea, and so that's really where our business grew. And we've had some people that have bought every single kit that we've put out, and they're just such faithful, loyal customers, and they send us messages and say, thank you so much, this really helped me. And I have one lady sent us an email. She worked in the NHS, and doing the kits was just her headspace. It was her relief, and she loved doing them, and she just became just a regular loyal customer. And just to get that lovely feedback, and people tell you how much they appreciate your art, and that's the difference, I suppose, when you're doing it for yourself compared to when you do it for the corporate world, because it doesn't have your name on it when you do it for someone else, whereas when it's your thing, people know the artist, they get to know you, and you share a little bit about yourself. And
there's a bit more connection there.
So that's been a really wonderful part of the business, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm a real when I speak, because I work with lots of students and do talks and stuff. For me, it's really important that you acknowledge your work and who you are as a person. It's not about being big-headed. It's more about, this is me. This is what I do. Whether it's doing podcasts or marketing or designing, it's just been, this is who, I remember when I first worked for a certain brand, and then they'd put all the stuff on TV ads and stuff like that, and I'd be like, but then I'd put it on my Instagram and go, I designed a print for this product working within this team, because I always try and acknowledge other people as well, because it takes a team to put a garment out there. It takes a team to put this mug out there. So, it's and that's how we work. So I think it's good to shout about what you do, and I don't think, especially with social media now, I often get students that are quite shy.
Same actually. It's when I'm doing workshops and stuff. One of the most common things is people saying, I just don't feel comfortable putting myself out there or showing my face or talking about what I do. And it's exactly the same, isn't it? Like, you are the business. Like, people want to connect with you. Yeah, exactly. That you're what makes your business different to anybody else's. So otherwise, you could just be anyone that's doing the same thing. And there's definitely no shame in owning.
No, I remember meeting a lady that follows me, and we bumped into her in Scotland, and she never shows her face. And I remember saying to her, but they want to see you. They want to know who you are, not just your beautiful florals. She paints amazing florals. But I was like, That was Creative Cut, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I just said, you know, you need to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Because I want to see it. And now I think she does. So now I can connect with the person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People will recognise her and put her along and her work together.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, isn't it, as
People
well, with an
just
artist.
want to know your story, don't they, and follow along and
Especially with art, I think, because it is like people want to feel like they're buying into something as much as it's a beautiful print, or you know, people want to know the story behind it and the people behind it.
So that's why even now, like, you know, Caroline will put lots of stuff with her, like stitching, or if we're going somewhere, and then on my Instagram, it's just finding the balance of like what do I want to put on the shared Madaher one.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just put on yesterday just me sitting here in the studio, just painting, sketching, no music, just do my thing, and then painting, and just, you know, it's just what I'm doing, and it shows that I actually am designing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, because we both had these separate Instagrams, and then we'd launch a kit, and I'd put it on mine, you'd put it on yours, but now it's getting even more confusing on Instagram, because now you can like have all these collaborators, so now I can put it on all of them all at once,
time.
and and it's like head spin, and they're just adding so many different elements to Instagram. But I know that it was actually Gemma from Motherhood, so we worked with Motherhood a long while ago. That was pre-COVID. We did an embroidery for
Gemma's great.
for
Yeah,
Strondell's
she's
Club
great.
sweatshirt, and that was a really exciting project. And it was her. We were having a little meeting with her, and she was like, "You guys need to just make
do one.
a brand
Yeah.
Instagram." We're like, "Oh, but that means starting from scratch with zero." And I'm nearly at 10k on mine, and I don't know if I really want to start from scratch. And you know, you just get really nervous.
And where are you at now on yours?
On the Madaher, it's at 88.
Oh, it's at 88 now.
88,000. Wow.
Yeah, and
so it definitely wasn't worth worrying about then.
No, it took a long while to get there though.
Oh,
and you do see some, and you can think, they've got so many
but
hundreds.
the thing is, but even so, there's a flip side to that. People get worried about numbers, like, oh my gosh, 100%. I haven't got enough numbers and stuff like that. And
that's true.
I'm just more so now, just, you know, if you want to follow me, great, thank you, I really appreciate it, but I'm not trying to worry about the numbers as much, because I just feel like this is where you have to switch off on social media and paint flowers, or you know, you just have to switch off and get away from all. Even that can in itself, it's a beast. You're feeding that beast of, you know, I need to have X amount of numbers, and no one's following me, no one's liking my work. I try not to.
And I always say to people, you could have a few hundred followers, and if they interact with you and they like what you're doing and they buy stuff from you, if it's a business, then great. You don't need to have. You know, often when you've got thousands of followers, it's, if anything, slightly more difficult to engage with them. And you know,
I think you're right, Tom. I think since we've got a bigger following, I think it is harder. And there are people that will reach out to us and say, "Oh, I came across it, I haven't seen your post in ages because of the stupid algorithm, and it messes with everyone's feed." And I think it is quite hard to keep engaging, and it is a beast, to be fair. And sometimes I do admire people that will say, "I took the whole summer off from social media." I'm like, I don't think I could do that, because you know, I do care about our social media, that it keeps going, you know, but and that I do put content out there, but I'm becoming less worried about what we put out there, and I'm becoming less concerned with what's supposed to be a trending sound or a trending thing. I'm just trying to be a bit more like, I'm just going to put out what we are about,
what
and
we
what
want
I
to do.
love. If I want to pick an abstract piece of music that no one might have heard of, and it goes with what we're trying to put out there, then that's what I'll do.
Exactly, because it's a creative thing at the end of the day, and that's what it's meant to be all about. But it has kind of lost its way, hasn't it, along the way, and that you have to pick, you know, some of the audios that are on the trending list or whatever, and then you're losing that creativity. Yeah,
and you may be losing a bit of authenticity and original content, because you're just seeing. I mean, it makes me laugh, because if I do watch something and my daughter's one of our boys is in the room, they're like, "Oh, Mum, turn it down, that song, I'm sick of hearing it." And I'm like, well, that actually sort of sums it up. Everyone is using that same, and we've done it. I mean, we have used, because some of them are fun to use. But I think it's important to also just bring something.
I think that's, if you can pick and choose and use some of them, and then some of them you be a bit more creative and do something
Yeah.
that's a bit more yourself, then you get a nice balance.
I
And
think
you get the
so.
benefits of using them and then the benefits of doing your
Yeah.
own thing as well.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
mix it up a bit.
Mm.
A
Yeah,
little bit
definitely.
mixing.
I just think make it what you want it to be. And I
Yeah.
think,
Exactly.
you know, for me, like, I've just been at Bolton University and I'm just putting a reel together now, just on my day yesterday. So I'm editing that at the moment, and it's not going to be long. It's not going to be like, but it's just me, like, you know, hey everyone, I'm off to see this first year's at Bolton. I'm working on a project with them, so come along with me on my journey, and let's and it's going to be really quick, and then I'll have something else for next week. But I mean, it's still considered, but it's just not. I'm not worried if it doesn't get loads of views. I just want you to come on my journey with me.
Yeah.
And
And that's probably one of my biggest tips when I do a workshop or stuff with people is don't overthink it too much. I mean, I stand there giving them a big list of all the things that you should do to make your reel, you know, do really well. And then basically kind of end by going, don't worry about that though. Like, yeah, have it in your mind. You want to pick a trending audio or you want to have a good hook at the start or whatever. But ultimately, the biggest trick on social media is to just be yourself and do what you want to do. Tell the story that you want to tell in the way that you want to tell it, because that's what makes you stand out from anyone else.
Exactly.
And, you know, not be the same old audio that I've heard 100 times. And that's what's going to make people want to follow you, because you're different and you're offering something that no one else is. And that's the hardest bit to teach people almost, is to have the confidence to show their face, to show up, to be themselves and to be an individual and be how they want to be and do it how they want to do it, I think.
And it's just, who knows what will be that magic reel that you post. I mean, we had that moment, didn't we? We had one early on that sort of grew us a little bit, and then we discovered how that happened. There's a little bit of a slightly tenuous link to Harry Styles, but apparently his sister, who's called Gemma, she shared our embroidery in her stories, and one day I was like, oh my goodness, we're getting loads and loads of followers, and they were just going up and up and up, and then someone messaged me and said, I found you because of Gemma Styles, and I'm like, well, who's that? I don't even know who she is. But then when I'm like, oh, Harry Styles' sister, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You never know who's
you never
watching
know.
and who might share your content or who
No,
might
you don't.
offer you work because of something they've seen or exactly.
Yeah. But I think that's something that we try and say to our following, is just that's the best way you can help all of the small businesses out there. If you can't afford to spend right now, you can take the time just to share
Share the
comment, you know, like a post, and just give that business a little bit of a boost by putting it out there, I think. But
Absolutely. I think if you just can say, I love that, or that was really great, that was really, you know, I just think that's, again, it's, you know, Instagram is about connecting people. It's about your, you know, your Instagram community. So, you know, I often will comment on someone and go, oh yeah, I love that. Oh, that was great. I really like that technique, or that was fun, or I love that. I found that inspiring. And so, you know, it's just about you know, social media is about connecting people and connecting the things that you all love. So
Exactly.
But
That's what it's all about. That's why I fell in love with it, because it is just a connection of a lovely community, especially in the kind of planty gardening and flowers community. You know? It's a lovely bunch of people. So we do just all want to cheer each other on and drop a comment on and show support. And the same with like amazing small businesses. You know, we just want to encourage them and buy from them and support them. And
I think as well, like, you always feel like if something ever did go wrong, you could pretty much count on your Instagram community to get behind you. If you were to share
100%.
something that's gone wrong, or, you know, like I shared something the other day because someone's shared our images without giving us credit, and they've shared a lot onto this Facebook page. And honestly, I had so many DMs going, I've reported that, or oh, that's terrible. And just, you get that support, you know. And I think you're right, the Instagram community, it feels like a safer space out of all the social media places. Instagram is, for me, it's the most creative and the safest space, I think. We won't name the ones that are not so keen.
no,
but you know,
we all know the ones.
Yeah. And I think it's been a real journey, hasn't it, in the last few years, just doing this. And now that we finally have this space, it's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this space a little bit, because we kind of talked about where we are in the world, but whereabouts are we, and how did you come to be in this space, and how have you ended up making it so beautiful?
Well, you discovered that
I
the
heard
space
you had the
was free.
paintbrushes straight out.
Yeah, so we were going to get another space, and cut long story short, so this is in Otley Courthouse. So Otley is where we live, and this is the community hub. So this is where they've got film and dance, and kids use this space, artists, it's a meeting place, there's singing, there's dancing, there was opera last night. There's a local brass band, a local choir. I mean, there is so much going on in this hub of a building, and it used to be, and it is still. Well, there is. You can walk down the hall from our studio, and you can still see the prison cells.
We'll give you a tour.
You know, and there's some other.
Lock you in the cell.
And there's some other artists. There's jewelry makers down the other end of the hall, and but I mean, I'll try and nip it in the bud. But there's a men's group here that they fix. They've got a workshop here, and he said, and I popped in because I wanted to find out about laser printing. Yeah, we can even get laser printing done in this place, and I wanted to find out about that. And one of the guys was like, "Oh, do you know the art room is sort of free?" And I went, "Oh, really?" And I remember, before COVID, this room was used for adults with learning difficulties.
Yeah.
It was a space that they used to come in and paint and do art and crafts. So it's almost like still got that slightly classroom feel about it. But I remember, I can never get a space here because the waiting list is so long. And then I popped in and I was like, oh no, we're in a dilemma because we had this other space, and the trustees that run this place, one of them, David, he was like, just have a look at it, let's talk, see what you think. It was going to be a place where other creatives could use it, but I think they wanted someone that was a bit more permanent. I think that was their sort of vision probably. And then, cut long story short, he came knocking on my door
the next day.
And
they'd literally had a committee meeting and everything, because they've got hundreds of volunteers here, and I think they'd gathered together a few of them and that have a bit more of a say on matters with the building, and they're like, we've made a decision and we want you. And we were like, oh, okay.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yes.
And then when they came to show us the space, I mean, I can be quite dramatic, and I actually started to cry because I was like, it's perfect. But now I feel really bad because we have this other space potentially lined up, and we were like days away from potentially signing on the dotted line for this other space. But this just felt perfect because it's so much more part of the community, and it's known, and people come and go, and we get to hear all of because the theatre is literally right behind here, which we showed you just earlier. And so we do hear the concerts and whatnot, but in the daytime it's usually fairly quiet, and it's lovely in the mornings in here, isn't it?
Yeah, and the light is great, even at night time. The light is really good because, the light that we can use. But and then I wanted to paint, and I've never painted a mural that big before, like flower, and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I'll just paint flowers on there, and boom,
we went to there's a place in Leeds, like a paint place where they recycle tins of paint. They're called Seagull, and it's just a great enterprise, isn't it? And
that's cool.
They have like recycle bins around the city where you can just dump your old paint if you've got out of a tin, and they will take everything. So when you go in there, we need to make our video about them actually, but when you go in there, they've just got all the colours. The tins look really messy, that you look like you're just going into somebody's big garage and taking your pick, but they have just sorted out what they are. They do a little swatch on the top, and there you go.
Wow.
And if you want to mix a colour, you could you've got colours here, you could literally go in and go, oh, could you make me, this colour? And they'll go, yeah, we could do that, and they'll mix it for you.
That's
and we
great.
came away
But
with
even
about
that
6 tins for like
part of
20 quid.
Yeah, and even that just is great. It's like, this community-based project that's funded by, the local council, I think, and for us it was great because now I'm even painting now with those like taster
Yeah.
pots.
Tester pots.
Tester
you mean.
pots, not taster.
Taster.
Don't taste your
Don't
paint.
eat.
Yeah.
Don't eat your
don't
paint.
eat- don't eat
Although
paint.
Davinder does usually put his paintbrush in his
In my tea, so that's quite common. But so it's really great. So I can just paint that and I can use it, and then if I'm not happy with the paint or I've finished with it, I can just
Take it back.
donate it back.
Yeah, that's
So
such a
it's-
great initiative. I've never heard of that. And that
Yeah,
sounds
it's called
really
Seagull.
cool.
Yeah, they're on Instagram.
Yeah,
they're
they are on
brilliant.
Instagram. We'll share it with you
Yeah.
later.
Instagram leads.
But you can go, and I think they employ people that have maybe struggled to get back into the workplace for whatever reason, and so it's just a really good initiative. And
Yeah.
they now do like recycled tiles. They'll do ceramic work,
Oh,
not
nice.
ceramic, mosaic.
Yeah.
Mosaic workshops.
Um,
So that's coming back to how we got the space. That's how we've got it. So now we've
And then
sort of,
decorated
you
it.
know, I'm sure you'll do your B-rolls and that, but you'll see that it's just lots of, we want to keep it really creative, and it's just finally having a space. And the thing is, I had friends yesterday going, I'm waiting for a space like that, and we've literally waited
Yeah.
years.
So long, yeah.
If you know us, we live in a tiny house with a tiny kitchen where I've had to paint when the kids are out or in the evenings.
So I
and then,
remember seeing videos of you kind of crammed in a little space.
Oh yeah,
painting.
we've got a little office with desks.
Yeah.
Like Davinder had to squeeze in for me to get to my desk, and then the kitchen table
So-
would be your art room.
so I think
And
it's not
dinner
just
time.
it's not just come along. We're not just
Yeah.
all privileged to we've got a studio space.
Yeah.
It's like this studio space is here for a purpose. We're here for a purpose. We're not just we've got a lovely studio space. So it's more about, yes, we have got a studio space, but that's what's going to help us to do our work and get people from the community involved and come here and visit. It's a place where people
Yeah.
can feel relaxed and creative. It's there's purpose behind our
Yeah.
brand and behind what me and Caroline do. And so we are fortunate enough to have this space, but it comes with an intention for us to use it for creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I said to you earlier, didn't I? I said it just feels a bit like a gift to get a space like this because
It
of
is.
like
It's a beautiful space.
and so many times where even just to put your sewing machine out, it would usually be at the kitchen table, and just having to pack it all away, it gets back to that, not just procrastinating, but also just
Time consuming.
having to pack everything away. And I think when we first moved in, that was the best bit about, we're at this desk and it's just covered in mess.
Yeah.
A mess.
And we're like, isn't it just great to just shut the door on it and walk away? And our house is now, although there's still a little bit of clutter, it's becoming our home again.
Yeah.
And we haven't got all the boxes of kits. We had kit boxes
Yeah, and
everywhere, didn't we?
paintboards and books
All the landing
and landing, and it's just
Yeah.
it's great to have.
Don't
Great.
tell my other half, he'll be kicking me out with all my boxes behind me. Cause
Yeah,
our living room's like a photography studio.
Oh no.
Right.
With samples and stuff everywhere,
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
the same. So it's such a nice space, and like you say, you've just got your space now to leave stuff out, to
Yeah.
get on with it again the next day,
Yeah.
pick things up where you leave off, and
Yeah.
you can invite people in as well
Yeah,
and have
exactly.
a lovely
I mean, we've
space.
only had the space since the summer, so it's. Well, I
It's
feel
all
like
new.
I feel like we're still on the verge of like the next phase,
Yeah.
which is where we're going to get more people to come in, and
Yeah.
we're trying to plan workshops. So watch out for those on our Instagram. In fact, we have got some painting workshops lined up for like October. So we're trying to but we've got more ideas, haven't we?
Yeah.
We want to.
So many ideas.
Coming back to that, so many ideas, bring it in.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
chatting about social media workshops earlier, weren't we, as well? So loads
even
of
just
possibilities.
like working with just local businesses. I guess that would be a way of tapping into the local community here as well, because Instagram is a bit more broad, as we were
Yes.
saying earlier, whereas just trying to get that local connection, even if it's just networking events or whatever, or mixing with other
That's it,
creatives
isn't it?
and
Yeah.
businesses would be a great idea.
Yeah, we've got to do that.
So much
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, there is.
So what's next then for you two? What have you got you kind of given us a sneak peek at the new embroidery kit.
Yeah, well, we definitely have a new embroidery kit to launch. I definitely wanted to try and get something else out for Christmas. We've got some other ideas.
We And I think this is another market of like selling brands and meeting other creators, but we've just started to do like craft fairs. So we're going to do one called Sunny Bank here, so which is where they film the Sewing Bee.
Oh, okay.
It's here in Leeds, and it's this old mill, and it's got tons of studios in there and offices, and it's a quite creative space. So we did our first one before summer, and it did really well. So that Christmas is coming up, so that's really the big market for everyone that's, you know, in retail or what have you. So, but yeah, we just want to grow our brand. But you know, the reality is it takes time, because you know, I freelance, Caroline works as well, we juggling 3 kids, you know, and every day is different. Yesterday I'm driving an hour and a half to university, today I'm here at home, and hopefully for the rest of the week, but it's a juggle, isn't it? So
we'd like to get our kits more out into shops, and you know, we've got our target market that we'd love to reach. I don't know if I should even say that on here, but you know,
maybe we should say it, and then they might hear it.
We think RHS should be stocking our kits, because we think
RHS, if you're watching this, you need to stock our embroidery kits.
The other place I would love our kits, the dream would be to get them in Liberty. That would just be the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Not that RHS is any lower, it's not at all. They're on a par pretty much with each other, aren't they? Yeah, because it was so inspiring. We went to the Chelsea Flower Show, obviously, in May, and that was amazing, and we'd never had the chance to go to that before. And
well, you showed me some of the kits as well earlier, and we were talking about the colours, and I said, that's RHS colours as well there.
So.
And I think the difference with our kits is because they combine painting and stitching, they actually don't feel quite so daunting to approach. No. So if it's just a complete blank canvas and you have to copy the design and begin from scratch,
I would not know where to begin.
It's quite hard. But because ours are very, once you get it in the hoop and it hasn't got any, any stitching on it, because it's got all these painted flowers, it's almost not, it's approachable, I think is the word I would use.
Yeah, you at least know where to start.
Yeah.
So. We do need to get into other retail places, but just to continue being creative. I mean, Caroline and the kids are encouraging me to do more painting.
Yeah.
Great.
Like when I say painting, I mean like on canvases.
I'll just keep saying you just need to go big.
Just go big. Now
go big.
There's no excuse. It's like, you know,
big canvases and.
Yeah, I do need to do that. It's just I've got like a million things. You know, my head's like.
Do you know? I keep thinking, because there was that creative guy. No, I've forgotten his name. That was at Chelsea. He had the barrels that were all painted. Do you remember?
Minaj.
Yeah, Minaj. Yeah. And you met him. This is a funny.
People thought I was him.
No.
Well,
that was hilarious.
He knows the story because we had to go and find him and we told him.
Did you?
And it was really funny. But basically, we saw some ladies that know Andy from Dahlia Beach, and we stood and chatted to them for ages.
In his garden.
They were so full of energy and bubbly and excitable, and they got all their Dahlia Beach bags, and they know her quite well, I think. They live in the same area, and they were ever so sweet. And then we were like, we have to have a photo. So they were with us having this photo, and the ushers there were like, we might have to move you on soon, because you've been in here a really long time, and there's a queue of people waiting to get in.
But there were other people looking at us.
And they were taking pictures. And when we got outside, one of Andy's friends was like, why were they all taking pictures of us as well? I know we were having our pics, but why was everyone else? And then someone came up to Davinder and was like, I really love what you did with the garden.
You just went, well, you know, it was hard, but
we were like, you should have just gone with it. But
it was hilarious.
We just cracked up so much because we were like, and because the penny dropped, I'm like, that's why they were all taking pictures, because they thought you were him. But he looks nothing like him.
I don't look anything like him.
No.
He's a lovely fellow, though. Yeah. Really nice. I said hi to him. I have a picture taken with him. Lovely guy.
It was
really
just
nice.
so
He's going to be on the podcast in a few weeks,
actually.
Is
he?
Oh, good.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so I'll have to remind him of this experience.
Well, there's a picture on my Instagram with him, I think, or Madaher.
It might be on Madaher. I can't remember where it is now. But
yeah, lovely guy. Really.
But I love the combination that he used of that painting and art with the gardening. And I recently saw some other stuff where someone had combined flower arranging with sort of arty, creative stuff as well. And I just think there's so much scope to collaborate. It would be great to collaborate with someone with your painting, with amazing flower displays at Chelsea in a garden. Could you imagine that?
I'd love that. I'd
With
love
maybe
it.
with the hoops or big stitched, installations with
Yeah.
flowers, and let's make it happen.
Yeah, loads of
Sweetheart,
amazing
never say
ideas.
never.
that
No.
just came to me now.
Yeah, I know. I'm visualizing
like,
it
Write
now.
that, write
I'm like,
that down.
Prophecy.
I'm like visualizing that right now. Like, that could happen. You
Yeah.
don't say.
That's today's procrastination
Yeah.
sorted.
I'll have forgotten about it by next
Yeah,
week.
by
so that
tomorrow
thing
she'll be
you thought
like,
about.
right.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like they've started the movie in the
I
background.
know.
Yeah.
Store.
So if they're gonna hear,
So maybe we'll call it there, and
Yeah.
we'll catch up again soon. And thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Oh, thanks,
Tom, it's been great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
It's been
thank
really,
you for
really good.
You're
driving
very
all the way
welcome.
out.
Driving all
I've
this
loved
way.
it, and I'm definitely going to be exploring everything before I go and having a
Yeah.
look at all the stuff you've been up to.
You're gonna have to come up and stay, and then do a workshop. I
Yeah,
think.
Yes.
yeah, that's a great idea.